The health department reports there are active mpox cases in the country, but tells the public not to be alarmed. The DOH says the mpox virus is not airborne and can be transmitted through intimate skin-to-skin contact or exposure to contaminated objects. Now, to give more light about this, we are joined by Assistant Secretary Albert Domingo. Good morning, Asec. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Paolo. Good morning, Monique and Anne. It's a beautiful day to be here.
Absolutely. You got the memo about to say that.
Yes.
Pero Asec, of course, we're here to talk about not just mpox, we're also talk about your fitness side quest.
Yes.
Pero pag-usapan muna natin yung mpox because it has been something that people have been concerned about. We have been monitoring it. Just taking a look at the general situation of mpox in the country, how would you describe it at the moment?
This year is not the first time that mpox has been in the Philippines. It's been around since 2022. In fact, when we do case counts, yes, there are 15 active cases, but we've had cases rather since 2022. 9 have already recovered since 2022, 2023, and we've always been getting what you call clade 2. We have to understand that the current public health emergency of international concern is because of what you call clade 1b. That one we don't have yet. We always say it's only a matter of time, but because we're getting, shall I say, practice because of clade 2, which is a milder form, our systems are being strengthened, are being prepared so that when clade 1b does come in, we already know what to do.
And speaking of coming in, I know Secretary Ted Herbosa mentioned that he is creating a task force, correct, on the mpox. Can you talk more about it and expound? And how many people comprise the task force as well?
Right. So the task force for mpox, or mpox task force as we call it, is composed of roughly, there are 4 or 5 heads. They're what you call task groups. They're in charge of surveillance or testing. Also, you have biologics, which means the vaccines and the other medications. You have risk communication. I'm in that particular task group, and also behavior change. You have logistics and finance, and I'm forgetting the other one, but those are the core. Oh, the other one is partnerships and the connections with the World Health Organization, other entities. This is like your standard, shall we say, emergency operations center. When we say emergency, it doesn't mean that it's already an emergency. It's just that we act this way so that we are ready for any eventuality. This task force takes care of the nitty-gritty, the logistics, the finance. Well, before me as spokesperson, before I say something like we're going to buy or get 2,000 vaccine donations, you have a lot of hardworking staff who are making sure that the papers are in order. I won't be saying something that I will regret saying later on. So everything that we say on air is already prepared for like days in advance. So that's what the task force does.
And,
Sorry, Mo, but Asec, you take a look at the preparations that is being done by the DOH. A lot of people are comparing this to maybe a recent pandemic, wondering about maybe face mask mandates. Is that something that the DOH is looking at? And is that something that might actually address the mpox in particular?
Oh, no, it's not a mandate. I would be wearing a face mask right now, this close to you, if it was something required.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So definitely, right? You can't have a spokesperson on air not wearing a face mask by mandate. So it's not going to be mandated. And the science here, Paolo, is the transmission is skin to skin. It's close, and it's not just a basic skin to skin. A frequently asked question of us is, if I happen to brush my arm beside someone when I'm on the MRT or on the jeep, will I get mpox? The answer is no, because unless the other person has an active lesion or you can see pustules, boils on the skin, then you won't be getting it. There is a low risk of you getting it. You simply have to, when you arrive at your office, wash your arms with soap and water. But to answer your question, the face mask is only requested, we're not even requiring it, if you have very close face-to-face. I don't want to cause a stir by coming close to your face right now, but, to demonstrate, we have to be very close and like breathing into each other's... In other words, when you have people who are kissing, hugging, beso-beso, so those things we try to reduce at this point in time.
And you mentioned earlier, Asec, about testing.
Yes.
Do we have test kits? How do we test for mpox, just in case we were in contact with somebody that does have it?
How can you tell if you already have mpox?
Right. So mpox goes through a series of symptoms on the skin. It can often be confused with other skin diseases like chickenpox, herpes, shingles. There are many things that can cause boils on your skin. So the first stage is clinical differentiation. You have a lot of doctors, dermatologists in particular, who are experts when it comes to the skin. And they can tell, does this little boil look like mpox or not? Even regular doctors find it difficult. I'm a regular doctor in that sense. I'm a general practitioner. And there was actually a time where I did have to refer the child of one of our house staff. And I was spokesperson. I was afraid it might be mpox.
Yeah.
So I went to our ITM. They helped me quite well. They were handling the patient quite well. They looked at the stages of the skin lesions and they said, we don't even need to test for mpox because we are confident that this is chickenpox.
Okay.
So that's stage one. In the event that in other cases that there is a high index of suspicion that this really looks like mpox, then you have what you call PCR, polymerase chain reaction. I'm very careful in saying these terms because it triggers post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yes,
sure
yes.
the last time you heard PCR, it was about COVID-19,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
no, this is not COVID-19. It just so happens that that is the technology that we use to test not just for mpox, but also for COVID-19, for tuberculosis, for many other things. So think of it as a microscope. It's like
Yeah.
a microscope. So that is your PCR. And it allows us to differentiate whether someone that we suspect of having mpox is really mpox or not.
Asec, before we move on from this, of course, there's a lot of literature that can be looked at on this. But from the DOH perspective, from all of us who are concerned about mpox, where can our viewers go and see the literature on mpox from the DOH?
Right, so we hope that you will be following the DOH Facebook page, Department of Health Philippines. Make sure it's the one with the verification mark. We also have a Twitter account, DOH GovPH. But if you do go to our website, the doh.gov.ph, there are pages there. We also encourage you to look at the World Health Organization pages. So these are the reputable sources. And also, if you'd like, you can go to the US Centers for Disease Control. These will actually publish extensive reference materials, in particular the science of mpox, which is why we are very confident in communicating this because we know a lot more compared to when we were faced with, remember there was a time we called it nCoV?
Yeah.
COVID-19.
Yeah.
COVID-19,
nCoV, yeah.
nCoV,
Yeah.
right? So now, on the onset, we know it's mpox. It used to be called monkeypox trivia because it was found in monkeys in 1958, that far back. It was renamed to mpox to lessen the stigma.
Yeah, and of course, you can catch all that again online. Make sure you go check that out. But at the moment here, Anne, I want to focus on the side quest of
Yes,
Asec.
yes.
He has a secret life.
Asec has so
With
many
her.
hats.
Literally.
No, but it's Fitness Friday today, so that's
Yes.
why we are going to let you guys in on a little secret. Asec Domingo right here is actually a fitness instructor. A really good one at that. So tell us about what you do, Doc. I mean, I already know, but let's tell them.
Of course. So I do teach indoor cycling. The program is Les Mills RPM, but the generic name, as we say in medicine, is indoor cycling. It's a group fitness class. I teach 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 6 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. in this gym in Alabang.
Okay. I don't know how you find time to handle 3 classes in a week, really, because, you know, we've been there, right?
Yes,
And it
yes.
gets really, really busy. So, you know, I never did get to ask you this, but why indoor cycling? What
Oh.
made you get, you know, so hooked into Les Mills RPM?
So another fun fact about me is I am hypertensive. I've been hypertensive
okay.
since age 24. Yes, and my grandfather passed away at the age of 55, even before my mother met him. So grandfather on the father's side.
Oh, okay.
So the real reason is not aesthetics; it's actually health. So in the family, there's a very strong history of cardiovascular disease. And in addition to diet, which is hard to do for me, I find it
Yeah, like
harder
us.
to avoid
We're always
food
eating.
for most people. Exercise is actually fun, and it also helps lower your blood pressure. It helps lower the amount of medication that you take in. Now, And you're probably wondering, why not other programs?
Oh, yes, kasi
diba?
there are so many other programs under the Les Mills umbrella, right? So why RPM?
Because I have 2 left feet. I can't dance, so I can't.
No body jam for you.
No dance classes. I can do the barbell class, the body pump, because you don't dance there. And I can actually pretend that I'm dancing on the bike, but the secret is there's a bike that keeps your feet locked in.
Yes, I like those.
So just upper body movement.
I can't
Exactly.
do the upper body movements. Actually, I've done a spin class, and I am also not coordinated. So I just prefer the biking, not the dancing part.
Yeah.
Me not being a very non-dancer, I think I can just follow all your
Oh yeah.
And the nice thing about what we teach, what you teach, it's the kind of cycling class that simulates an outdoor ride.
That's correct.
Right? It's
That's
not really
correct.
the one with movement.
That's what I like.
Yeah. So there are actually multiple formats even within the cycling class world or the indoor cycling world. So the Les Mills RPM program has a pattern that we follow.
Yeah.
We simulate outdoor experiences, and that's exactly what we try to do when we're teaching it to our students. And fun fact, there are a lot of students, particularly in the branch that I teach in, that you wouldn't know outside class are also officials in government, without naming them, of course, but like, ooh, you're in this agency, like, hi, hello. But when you're in the gym, everyone forgets what you do in the daytime, even for just 1 hour. It's also a way of mental health relaxation. Because you get a chance in a controlled environment, you're safe, you're actually burning calories, and you somehow get to rest from what's keeping you worried just for that moment.
Right. Do you have any fitness advice for anybody that wants to try spinning for the very first time?
Well, 2 things. In general advice.
Be prepared.
2 things.
No pressure.
Number one, you have to make time for it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you just go into one class and then, let's go, like energy. No, that will actually lead to health problems because you might get traumatized. Your body will. So we're very careful when there are first timers, and this is the second piece of advice. So again, first piece, make time for it regularly, like ideally 3 times a week, and treat it like a meeting. Yeah. I was telling Anne off air that my staff know that they can see my Google Calendar. If it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's a gray box there, don't schedule anything because that's my teaching time. Right? So number 1. And then number 2, for everyone, whether you are a beginner or advanced, especially for the beginners, do not be pressured. That's what we always say when we're teaching. This is not about being, bida inside the class. I'm the best. No. Every attendee has his or her own fitness level. Everyone is welcome. And we instructors are very much able to adjust. We don't, there is a technique in teaching that you are able to reach out to the competitive member, the competitive attendee. But there's also an ability to teach those who are beginners.
Yes, and we can tell when we're in front of the class, right? We know who are the athletic ones, and the ones who are medyo shy, they sit in the back, right?
So it's my turn to put the tables on you. Anne and I actually trained at the same time in Singapore for the advanced level of instruction.
For the advanced.
So you guys are the people in the front showing off, not just kidding. I'm the one in the back. I'm like, oh my God.
Right, but we have to wrap up in just a bit, Asec. But then for those who want to take a class under you in particular, how do they do so, especially if they're government officials who might need it in their career?
The Secretary of Health actually wants to attend one of my classes.
Please, but if be prepared.
Right, but if you are interested, and you can always, number 1, you just have to be a member of Fitness First Alabang. That's the key entry point. And then find me in the branch in Alabang.
Right.
So the classes, I gave you the schedule, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. There's an app that you can book in, and that's going to be your start, and I'll see you in the studio.
I cannot wait to see how many government officials end up going there after this and discovering this. Maraming salamat, Asec. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paolo, Mo, and Anne, of course. Nice to see you again.
I know, I missed you.
We'll see you in the gym, Asec.